It's time to look at the forecast for March 2025. Welcome to the Feng Shui and Bazi Chinese Astrology channel. My name is Lydia Griffith. And on this channel, I often like to read the charts of famous people. I think it helps us to better understand our own lives and our own charts, our own astrology. So if this sparks interest for you, please subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. I usually put 2 or 3 out a week. This week I'm doing 3 because there's so much to be said about each month's forecast. So this week, I am launching the best, most challenging days video, the Flying Stars Feng Shui of your home video, which is so... Each of these components helps us to navigate from the design of our home and how we're living in our home to how we are scheduling our lives so that we are in flow with the energies, not victims of it, where we have to react, right? But rather that we are proactive in this knowledge that we are given to make the necessary adjustments, those little tweaks and shifts and changes, just like moving rocks in a stream, then the flow shifts and changes. And all of this is important for us to feel a measure of balanced groundedness and feeling like we're thriving in our lives. Wow, that would be an amazing thing. And it's great to work towards that. Even if we never experience thriving in the ways that we would define that, we at least are making that effort. So, I always like to begin the forecasting of the next month by recognizing where we have been. Because if you think of life, as I do, as a grand story, and each of us is a story, and if I were to do your Bazi Chinese astrology chart and do a reading with you, you would then see and understand your story. And if we are going to work together, for instance, you notice I've been doing a lot of work astrology lately, that if we're going to work together, it's so interesting to be able to say, this is my astrology, this is your astrology, and so this is how we would work well together. And this is where our challenges would be. So we need to maybe implement another person that could help with that. Just saying. So we began 2025. Let me just say, woo! Year of the Snake, babes. This is going to be a ride. And you know it. You know it. No matter where on this beautiful, glorious planet. Heaven on earth it is. Wherever you are going to experience a level of change. And some of it is impacted by what is going on outside of our own personal lives, our governments and so forth. And some of this is internal and very personal to you. And whether or not change is coming at you, or you are creating the change, it is going to be transformative. And who we are, each of us, by the end of this year, will be a measure changed. So the month of February started 2025 with a Tiger month. And it was a Yang, Earth Tiger month. And the Tiger represents... when we look at Chinese astrology, most people recognize the 12 horoscopes, right? Those 12 animals. And sitting atop each animal, as we cycle through, is one of the 5 elements in either its yin or yang expression. Now, the interesting thing, and I talked about this at the beginning of this year when I launched all those videos about this year for you. I gave you so much information. So when you look at the way that the stem sits atop the animal for most of 2025 is in opposition. Change often comes through friction, right? Something coming at us, we are responding, there is that friction, okay? So it is not comfortable, but we can learn to ride that edge, soften into it, surrender into it. Be curious about what it is showing you. The Yang Earth sitting atop the tiger, which represents the Yang wood, the impetus that begins spring, right? That's what we know of the Lunar New Year. The Lunar New Year is the welcoming in of spring, according to the Chinese calendar and Chinese tradition, Asian tradition. So, it is as if you have a forest that is covered, almost like a forest inside a mountain. Like it is a force coming down upon it. But even more than the elemental story here is the fact that the tiger forms a semi-fire penalty to the snake. And that is the story of this year, my friends. You take dovetail transformation in all of its ways, all its expressions, and couple that with the fact that the snake is going to have these pulse moments in February and in August, when we have the monkey month. Those three animals create a fire penalty. And for some of you, and it will be very personal to you, if you have a tiger day, a monkey day, and in a different way, a snake day. If you have a snake for your hour, like President Donald Trump has a snake for an hour, in his hour, it is going to highlight your career. Your career is going to be all front and center. Now, there are so many different variations here, and I don't want to get you confused, but collectively, the month of February brought us all this penalty that speaks of, and you in your own personal life, as well as the news that you have seen, are going to recognize how this plays out. The fire penalty instigates legal battles, people rising up, saying we're not taking this. You look at all the protests across the United States in February. It's about legal things. It's about changes in money that are going to show a loss. For example, things costing more is going to be a loss to your revenue. You've got to spend more. It's about relationships and the struggle of relationships. I can't tell you how many friends I have who have gone through divorce or nearly breaking up or really struggling in their relationships with their friends as well as their lovers. I myself felt this penalty as well. I have the hour of the snake, but the way that I felt attacked in February was extremely personal and very ugly. And it was shocking, as most things can be. When somebody turns against you, when somebody does you harm. And for me, honestly, the worst is where they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. How in the world could you have possibly been offended by that? As if to say, the fact that you're shocked and upset that I did something atrocious shouldn't be a problem. Just go along with it, let people do atrocious things to you and just smile and nod? Oh my God. Yeah. Let's just say I'll be glad when February is over. It has been extremely cold, extremely snowy, and relationships have been funky. Let's just leave it at Funky Town. And speaking of funky, dear Lord, what is coming for us, friends? Speaking of Funky Town with relationships, well, you know, in Western astrology, we are about to start Venus retrograde and then Mercury retrograde. And there's all kinds of things going on in that side of astrology. But I noticed this when I was listening to Chani, who I adore. I was listening to her weekly podcast, and I was like, oh my God, as usual, Eastern astrology and Western astrology create this full story. And you're going to see this also in the video that I'm going to do about the Flying Stars Feng Shui. Even in our homes, we're going to see this agitation. And that's what I'm feeling. It's a lot of agitation going into March. So, all right. Sickness. We've got measles outbreaks and flu is rampant and all the things. So this month of February, again, just to highlight what the fire penalty can show us. And again, this was collective astrology, but if you have any of these zodiac animals in your Bazi chart, and again, it's the snake, the monkey, and the tiger. Lawsuits, loss of money, relationship issues, can be friends, colleagues, anybody. Kind of like the enemy is at the gate. It's also really bad for your health and for having accidents. Ton of plane crashes happened in February. Really weird. It's like one of the safest ways to travel, right? There was like 3 or 4 of them in the last month. And then, yeah, so you look around. So if you would like, I'm going to give you a journal prompt. Journaling is a wonderful way to compost what's happening in your life and to get what's on your heart and in your head on paper so you can really discern what's happening in your life. So the journal prompt, how was your month of February as far as your health, your finances, your safety, and relationships? Did you have any challenges? Did you have any upsets, losses, or delays? How are you sitting with all of that now? And what are the greatest lessons you learned? And this is all on a blog on the Karma Chameleon website. Karma Chameleon, by the way, this business of mine is 27 years old. Amazing. Yeah, it's been a business with me for a long, long time. So anyway, the blog is there. It has all of the articles that I'm talking about, referencing that I'm doing videos on. So you can see the transcript there. Okay. So, again, that journal prompt is, how was your month of February as far as your health, your safety, finances, relationships? Did you have challenges? Did you have upsets, losses, delays? And how are you sitting with all of that now? What are your greatest lessons learned? For me, boundaries. Boundaries. And looking at where I put my energy and making sure that where I put my energy and the people I spend my time with are people that are kind to me. Above all else, people need to be kind to me. Okay. March comes in on the 6th. So March 6th, according to the Chinese calendar, we move into a new month. The Bazi astrology for this month, we have the year of the yin wood snake, the month of the yin earth rabbit, the day of yang wood dog. okay? We're coming in strong with a very big feeling of justice. And I wonder how, it's kind of like when you come in at the beginning of something, like the start of a marriage, the start of moving into a home, the start of a new month. The astrology is a stamp that is a way of saying it all begins here, and from this energy does the rest of this month or the rest of this marriage or the rest of this time in this house is going to be like its birth. And that energy is going to be a part of the story. So I say that because I do think this is a time of justice, of looking at what is fair, of standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves, of being more charitable, of being more community driven to do the right thing, okay? And the rabbit is so much about not even discernment, but negotiation. Navigating the waters to create a harmonious environment is the core of the rabbit personality. They also are extremely moody and can be snobbish and condescending. But they also are great negotiators. They're pretty chilled out, easygoing. The snake is discernment. The snake is intuition. The snake is sitting behind the scenes, figuring out what is going on and what's my next move, calculating, And so together with the rabbit, that feels right. And then you bring in the dog, who's like justice, fairness, all works very well together, okay? The issue, one of them is, look at the month herself. It is yin wood, the rabbit, sitting with yin earth on top of it. And so in looking at all of this, the mood of this time is the way that the analogy, somebody's wandering dog just went past my window. Anyway, so the yin earth is so much like somebody covering over the plants, right? Yin earth is like literally somebody throwing dirt on top of the growing flowers in your garden. It is the smothering of growth. It is the oppression of growth. And it's as if to say that spring is delayed. Because by March, we are full into the beauty of flowers. Everything is in bloom. The leaves on the trees come back. Everything is alive. But this is yin earth on top, all of that is suppressed, which means anything that you want to grow is going to take that much more effort. It's a time to tunnel, to excavate. March is a time to go below the surface of what you know, to dig out the truth, the intel, the facts. This is growth that is delayed, a season of spring that is slow to erupt in visible signs of development. Delay anything you want to launch, plant, or manifest for a better time. Okay? So if the mood of the month feels heavy, depressed, or oppressed, here are some ways to lighten it up, okay? So 1, I love to do this. Put on a fun playlist and have a dance party for 1, or invite your besties. Get out into nature every day, whether a park or your own backyard. If possible, put your bare feet on the ground and feel that nourishing, grounding, soothing your nervous system energy. Then take baths with essential oils of spring. The essential oil of the wood element is geranium or sandalwood. Journal your dreams, your schemes, your imaginings, what's sitting on your heart. Enjoy solo time just for you. Go on a retreat. I offer retreats here for women, small group, intimate yoga retreats. Keep life simple. Act with mindfulness and intention. Adopt a more quieter demeanor. You do not have to respond to every post, every text, email, or phone call. No apologies, girlfriends, boyfriends, anybody out there. You do not have to respond. And that being said, take a month off the news, take a month off social media, give yourself more screen breaks. Read more books. It is not a time for launching. It is not a time for big things to happen. And knowing that Venus is going to be retrograde, knowing that Mercury is going to be retrograde, is another time. It's another way of sending this same message that March is a time to take a step back, reevaluate. What am I growing? What am I planning? Just because I started this, does it mean I need to finish it? Maybe I need to scrap this and try something new. Reinvent, reimagine, reconfigure. And that, my friends, is the month of March 2025. Your journal prompt is set an intention for March given this astrology. What are you building that you need to research more? Is there anything that needs to be negotiated, like salary, job description, or a settlement? What is your intention for March? And earmark that page in your journal so then when a month later, when I'm here again with you for April's forecast, you can go back and check that intention and see how your month played out. Pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any kind of comments, please keep them kind and respectful. I welcome your questions. Thank you so much. Be well.